Hey everybody, we're going to talk about our 3 favorite Pixar animated movies of all time. I love Pixar movies. They might well be my favorite movies that there are. I never miss them. And I'm excited to talk about this with us. John Bogenschutz of Tone Deaf Comics. John, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Tim?
I'm good. And who's our special guest host?
We have Shelley back, my beautiful wife.
Hi, everybody.
Shelley, you were so fantastic on our Disney top 3 Disney animated movies discussion that we decided to invite you back. So welcome back.
Well, thank you. Glad to be back.
If anybody hasn't seen that one, go to YouTube and find it because that was a really fun discussion too. So do you want to do it in the same order, Shelley? Do you mind going first or do you guys want to mix that up?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I can't wait to see what everybody has to say. I really struggled with this. I really struggled with this because I had so many I liked, not because I couldn't decide.
I did too. And that's why I'm looking at my list and my honorable mentions and I'm like, oh, do I want to flip it? But anyway, okay. So I'm going to stick with what I said. Okay. So my number 3 favorite Pixar movie would have to be Finding Nemo. Yeah, Finding Nemo. It's just like I said, hi, Dory. Because
I think that's there for a reason.
No, actually, it's not in my 3. This is always with me.
He shared before. He likes his plushies.
That's right.
But no, Finding Nemo for me, again, I guess it's more nostalgic, but I love the movie itself. But for me, it just brings a warm area. I was actually expecting Daniel the year that it was coming out, and so there was a lot around it. And I don't know, and it's nice to see it again and just have all those memories flush over. But just the story itself, I like how Nemo can do nothing. Poor Marlin, he's gonna just wear himself out, and then all of a sudden by these circumstances, Nemo's finding out he can do so much more than his dad ever allowed him to try. And Marlin's like, okay, it's not as scary of a world out there. And he meets all these, wonderful things, which he totally warned Nemo not to mess with. And he's involving himself with all these different characters like that. So I don't know. I think it's really good. I think it's definitely a story where they both kind of found themselves, and then that helped them find each other, which was Finding Nemo. That was the purpose of the movie, but it all happened in such a great way. And I don't know, you just know that, okay, they're going to be okay in their life, and they're still going to have, challenges and worries, but they're going to get through it. So I don't know. It's just a fun movie. It's very adventuresome, I feel. But yeah, it was just really cool. One thing I will say, when it first came out, it was kind of weird to me. There was no soundtrack. So, but looking back, I love the music. So it's just really nice. It's nice and relaxing, and I don't know, it's just fun. And I really like how they literally made everything an underwater world, and that perception of everything was a lot of fun. So I don't know, Finding Nemo, number 3, Pixar for me.
That's good. Are you a Nemo fan too, John?
I do like it a lot, and the music in it is really good. I feel like it adds the perfect atmosphere to it. They did a good job going with Thomas Newman for the music. Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. The soundtrack is fantastic for that. And I like the fact that it's really a story about a handicapped kid who learns that he doesn't have to let that hold him down, and teaches the father the same thing. Yeah. And that's sort of this really strong message that's sort of just in the background, really.
And I think that's the biggest thing is Marlin, I think, took the biggest steps, because Nemo wanted to do everything and he knew he had it in him, but Marlin's like, I'm not letting you, go get hurt. You're mine and you can't do that. So I think that's a good lesson. I think it's a good lesson for all of us. But yeah. So
yeah.
Cool. John, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Coco. And that's one that is just visually stunning. Again, a great message to the movie. The songs are great. The end of the movie, that last song, I could watch over and over again. And I've done it where I've been at the movie and gone back and just rewatched that a couple times. It's like when they're crossing back over the bridge and he's rejoining his family. Just really, really nice.
Yeah. It's a beautiful movie.
Yes.
Literally, it's beautiful to look at.
Oh, man, when those orange petals start flying, oh, it's just so beautiful. Yeah, my favorite moment is when the guy that can never cross over finally gets to cross over, and that's probably what you're talking about. But that's more heartwarming to me than the moment with the grandmother.
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
pretty cool too. So, well, that's a great choice.
Yeah, thanks.
You're making me
This
cry.
was on your short list.
Yes,
wasn't
this was an honorable mention for me. I was like, ooh, what do I break it down to?
it?
And I was like, oh, I'm like, okay, I'm going with Nemo. It's got a place in my heart. So yeah. As I'm tearing up as he's talking about Coco, I'm like,
No, it is, but that's why we love these movies. I mean, they do that to us. They're beautiful, they're adventurous, but they also have these messages that really touch us all.
well, and I love it, because, well, I mean, for obvious lots of reasons, but I also like it because it definitely opens up an area that is more diverse than I ever knew about. Like I had always heard about that, but I never really knew what that was to celebrate it. And it makes so much more sense now. And it's not like, why do you do this? It's like, oh, that's a way to pay respect. And that's a way to, and I'm like, that's awesome. And I think that's a nice thing to have. So it's nice to know those little things about different cultures and stuff. So I don't know.
And their culture isn't so phobic about death like ours is. We just don't ever talk about death in our culture, and I think it's very healthy that culture has that component.
You're exactly right. Yeah.
You guys are going to be really surprised at my number 3. I don't think you would ever guess it. But anyway.
Oh wait,
Really?
hold on. I thought this was gonna be your number 1.
Cars?
Yeah,
You know how much I love Cars then.
yeah.
I love Cars. I love the Cars. I have all these cars at my desk. If I ever get bored writing music, I have the Cars here. Like I'm just like a big kid, but I have a ton of these cars. Yeah, I love the movie. Like the thing is, but more than I love the movie, I love the cars. Does that make sense? Like I just think the cars are so cool, and I love the personalities. I love the way they interact. I love having them and playing with them. Like I guess I'm like a little boy. I love cars. I grew up playing with my Hot Wheels all the time, and I loved it. So when the movie came out, I was buying all the cars. I was like their target demographic, adult male with money that remembers how much he loves cars and has to have them all. So that totally. But I do. And if you haven't ever been to Cars Land, you guys have been to Cars Land, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Out in California Adventure. I love Cars Land. It's a good thing I don't live in California because I would never get anything done. I'd be at Cars Land every day.
I support that statement, Tim.
Yeah, that place lit up at night is the best.
Really special. So
Yeah.
I love Cars, and so it's interesting that you thought that would be my number 1. But I had to put it on the list. I kept thinking, well, there are other movies that I think are better movies,
Sure.
but I love this. I love the Cars.
That's special to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite character in Cars?
Oh gosh, I wasn't prepared for that.
Sorry.
Oh, the pressure. Oh my God. I don't think I can. I love them all. I can't. It's like picking your favorite child. Like I love Lightning McQueen. Obviously, he's probably my favorite. I say ka-chow a lot when I'm alone and nobody's around. And but like I love them all. I love Mater. I love all the town folk primarily. And I think Chick Hicks is a fantastic villain.
Yeah.
I think he is so funny and so well done. But anyway.
Yeah. Good job.
Oh, and look, if you haven't seen the third one, this is at my desk. Have you seen?
Yep.
Yes.
Nice.
I thought that was the funniest thing ever. Is when, well, if you don't know who this character is, you need to see the third Cars movie. And if you don't think the third Car movies is great, at least watch this scene because it's so perfect. Okay. Anyway, Shelley, number two.
Okay. Number 2 is Toy Story 2. That's my number 2. And I went back and forth. I was like, should it be Toy Story or not? But no, I like Toy Story. Don't get me wrong. I like Toy Story. But Toy Story 2, and see, this is hard because I like 3 and 4 as well. But the reason I like Toy Story 2 is we make new friends. And, Woody's like, what is my purpose? And he's like, okay, my purpose is done. So I'm going to move on. He's still helping others. Like he's helping Jesse and Bullseye and Stinky Pete. But I don't know, he's still being selfless, I guess, because that was him as a toy. But then his friends are out to find, like, no, you still have a purpose here. And, and he's like, okay, I don't know. I like it. I love Jessie. She's one of my favorite characters. I just love her spunk and just, the way she just goes in there and gets it, because I'm not that person. So I love that she does it. So, just so well. And she's a fun character. And I don't know. I like Toy Story 2. It's a good one. And I like how they all become part of Andy's toy collection too, so nobody's really left out. And I think that's a really special, sweet moment. So anyway, Toy Story 2.
And that scene in the toy store with all the Buzz Lightyears and all the Barbies and everything, that whole scene is just unbelievably great.
Well, and one of my favorite things going on is when you have Buzz Lightyear and then you have the toy Buzz Lightyear, like it's just ridiculous. And then when there's that scene where they're together and all of a sudden they're like, who's who? And then Buzz hits his helmet and he's like, oh, and everybody's like, whatever. Like I just love their faces, and I'm just like, this is so that was the best. So yeah, there's a lot of good moments in that movie too. So
yeah,
I think
it's interesting you chose that one out of the 4, but I can see why you loved it, and you did. I have to tell you, I think sometimes Jessie's a little bit over spunky for me, but I think I couldn't live with Jessie, but I don't mind visiting her from time to time.
She's a small dose.
She's very spunky. John, what's your number 2, man?
My number 2 is Toy Story 4. Just no spoiler on the first one. This is my favorite Toy Story. Out of the 4. Yeah, like, but all the Toy Stories for me are like right there. Like there's none that are like, okay, one's down here. It's like 4, 3, 1, 2 for me. It's just like all so super close for me.
Why is 4 your favorite? I'm intrigued.
I really, really like the ending of this one. Like I after 3, everybody's like, okay, that's done. There's nowhere else we can go with this, and they found a way to do it. Like you have Forky in there, who's so good, and just the whole way the story propels itself. You have the beginning with that shot of Woody and Bo Peep in the rain, and like that itself is just a picture to be put up right there. There's so many good moments to this movie, but the ending of it is really good. And then you have Duke Kaboom in it, who I thought going into it, I was like, I'm not gonna like him. He's great.
Keanu Reeves, man. Yeah, I love that you mentioned him. Canada's favorite action hero, right? I have to tell you, the thing I loved about Toy Story 4 is there's a scene where they're in the antique store or whatever, the thrift store, antique store, and you remember the sun is, they show the stained glass lights, and the sun is the lights cascading around and all the colors. And I remember thinking, this is the most beautiful thing that's ever been animated. Like it was just stunning. I couldn't believe that. Like how they accomplished that, I don't know.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna mention like the funny part when they go into that little like club in the antique store, and Bo Peep's talking to Duke Kaboom. He's like, oh, someone would have to be real stupid to do that. And she's like, yeah, someone would, wouldn't they?
That's fantastic.
That's really funny. I forgot about that.
I'm totally now I've got like a whole list of movies I have to see again because I'm really enjoying the conversation. Believe it or not, my number 2 movie I do not have a prop for. I know, and it's not because I don't love it, because clearly, and I have to tell you, I really struggled. My number 1, my number 2, my number 1, my number 2, because my number 2 is, I think, the best Pixar movie.
Okay.
But it's not I still can't say it's my favorite. But anyway, I love Inside Out.
Oh, yes.
I love Inside Out. Did I give away a spoiler for something to come? Is that somebody's number 1? Well, then go ahead and say it, and we'll talk about it both the same. Is that your number 1, Shelley?
I'm sorry, I'm not good at hiding emotion.
No, it's fine.
No poker face here.
Is that your number 1?
It is.
Well, then let's talk about it together, because I think it's such a special movie.
Well, now why is it like number 2? Just because it's a good movie? Because you said it wasn't one of your.
Because when I tell you what my number 1 is, I'll explain why it won the choice on my list. But I have to tell you, when I wrote the list down first, Inside Out is in the number 1 position, and then I later drew an arrow and said, no, I have to make this. So I love Inside Out, and I do think it's the best Pixar movie.
Yeah. One thing that, it's just fun. Like Joy, I absolutely adore her. And then as the movie's going, because I think in the previews you kind of have a preconceived notion of what's going to happen, but you don't. And then the more we got to know sad and even the other emotions like disgust, she's kind of high on my list too. But I'm like, this is really good. And as you're watching the movie, like sadness, she keeps trying to talk to Joy and say, hey, when they're on their little adventure, like it's going to be okay. Joy, stop and listen to me. And Joy's just like, no, we got to make it happy. We got to make it happy. We got to make it happy for her. Oh my gosh, I forgot her name. I went blank. Riley.
I went
Sorry.
blank too.
I know, Riley.
Riley.
And then as it starts to unfold, you start to realize it. I love the fact that it's okay to have lows because that makes your highs highs. And I think that's a very important message for little ones. And I think it's something that little ones, because I work with preschoolers and we have a week of emotions, a couple weeks of, expressing emotions. And let me tell you, Inside Out books are in there, and we read them and we talk about them, and they understand it at such a basic level, but it has such a bigger storyline that I know for me as an adult, I'm like, it's okay to be sad. It's okay, because that's what life is. That's how we're wired to have different emotions. Because if we were joy all the time, we would be exhausted, I mean, honestly. So I think it's good. And I love that it's okay to be sad. And that when Joy realizes, oh, these aren't bad emotions, these aren't wrong, because it was like, oh, here comes sadness. It's like, no, you are such a vital part of me having that joy. So I don't know. I love it. You go, Tim. Sorry.
No, that moment when she realizes that joy came to Riley because of the sadness she was expressing. Like that is really, really powerful. And you're right. It's a great, great message, because I think sometimes we're afraid of feeling all these other emotions that aren't so pleasant. And that's clearly a message.
Yeah.
And I also think it's incredibly clever. Like, to me, it's the most clever, probably maybe the most clever movie I've ever seen. Like when they're walking around the imagination and they go through, 2D land, and then like there's all these different parts of the brain and the imagination that they explore.
Yeah.
Somebody's floating around, it's a cloud. Like it's all just incredibly clever and creative to me on a level that I don't think they've ever reached again.
Yeah, and the imaginary friend part was
What's
very well
his
done.
name?
I
Quizbo?
can't remember. It was like Beat Bop or
is it Quizbo?
No.
It's like got two syllables, I thought.
Can I look it up?
It's not Quizbo?
No.
I'll look it up.
No, it's
We're
Bing
clearly
bong.
not prepared for this
Bing bong.
moment.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
Where did
Bing
I
bong.
get mine? Okay, well anyway. No,
Was
because
that
that's
your
the thing.
imaginary friend? Okay.
But be distracted by the anyway. No, and I got to tell you, this is the Pixar movie where I cry twice. I always cry when he jumps off and lets her escape like that. To me, I'm like, that's really special to me. So I love this movie.
Yeah.
John, are you a fan?
Yes, this is a good one, and you two are probably right. This probably is their best movie, like overall, like story-wise,
Conceptually
and
and
everything.
everything.
Yeah, because just the whole concept of it is ridiculous to even just come up with. So
Yeah, and then so well executed, so clearly, and like all of it, the islands of imagination, all of that stuff is so personality islands, whatever. Anyway, well, let's move on. We are talking about what we think are the best movies, but we're actually talking about our favorites. So, what's your favorite?
Going to me, right? Because
Yes.
So my favorite is The Incredibles. And this is there's a lot to it. Like it's a superhero movie, which I'm not the biggest superhero fan. I'm finding out as the years go on, but this is my favorite superhero movie. The soundtrack's phenomenal. Like everybody knows the soundtrack. I just really like the story of the family working together, and there's a lot of really good parts to it that happen. My one thing is like going back and rewatching it, like if they ever went back and just redid the graphic animation on this, I would not be upset. Keep everything the same. Just update the animation. That'd be perfectly fine.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, like they always talk about with Pixar, that they would have to overcome certain things, and they try to do that with each movie. Like with Monsters Incorporated, they had before that they
The
would have
hair.
trouble with doing hair, so they're like, let's tackle that in this movie.
Right.
With in Finding Nemo, they talk about we've had trouble with water. So like one of the things
Right.
that you see in here, this is pre Finding Nemo, is like the water looks not ridiculous. It is for what it is at the time. So
That's interesting. I actually thought the second one was almost better than the first one.
the second one is great. And
I
there's
love it.
little beefs not beefs, but there's down moments of it that I'm like, this still keeps the first one ahead of it for me.
You know what? I've just never loved Syndrome. Like
Yeah.
to me, he's not a great villain.
I think he works because I know the intent that's there, but he's not the best at what he does either.
So you think the intent they took that route is they're taking that superhero comic scenario?
Yeah, like the reason he's doing it is like, okay, like I was dissed by not Captain
I
America,
get that.
Mr. Incredible and stuff.
Captain America.
But again, he's not the best at what he does,
Right.
and he's
True.
not perfect, but he pretends to be perfect.
He's got a very big ego.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just find him annoying. I don't know. That's just me. I love the movie, and I gotta tell you, do what?
I think that might be the point of him, though, to be annoying. I mean that seriously. You know what I mean? It's like, we're not looking, yeah. Sorry.
No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. But I don't know. Like, I just don't love him. So that to me frustrates me because everything else with The Incredibles. And I got to tell you, I do think the most important thing in The Incredibles is the music. Like, it's just so stellar.
He loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is one that, like, we had it on DVD, and we never watched a lot because I would be like, well, I have to walk down to the basement and get the DVD. So when I was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to buy
This
it
is
on
my life.
iTunes. And since that point, like, there was one week where, like, the younger boys and I especially watched it a good chunk amount of times, and it never got old.
Right.
Like, we loved it.
All right. All right. All right. So my number one Pixar movie, and I have to tell you, I cheated.
Oh,
Here
I
we go.
cheated.
how do we cheat?
Is it a 4-parter?
Because I am saying Toy Story inclusive. I can't choose which. I love all four of them. And so I had to say Toy Story is my favorite movie because I love all four of the movies. I think they're stellar. These characters are so special to me. And I'm always happy when I get to spend time with them. But like, I don't know if I could pick one. Probably I'd have to say the first one because it was the first digitally animated movie I ever saw, and it just knocked my eyeballs out of my socket. I'll never forget that experience of seeing all these playthings and toys in Andy's room come to life for the first time. And I just thought, this has changed everything about movie making, which I think it did. But anyway, but I love the third one, I think is the best one. But the second one, I think, is maybe has the best message. The fourth one is, I mean, they're all. So anyway, I'm saying Toy Story, but I'm saying Toy Story, and I'm sort of saying all the movies. Can I get away with that or not?
Yeah. I think you're right. I think the third one probably is the best one overall. Like if you had to rank them in terms of like,
I mean, people are weeping openly in theaters.
yeah,
You know, like I thought it was just an astoundingly great movie.
yeah.
But
There's so many funny parts to it.
Toy Story 3?
yeah, but the first one is probably most special to me because it was, like I said, it was so astoundingly new.
Yeah.
And that's when I fell in love with Buzz and Woody. And I mean, I have a bunch of them. I have a Christmas Buzz and Woody that I bought back when the movie first came out that I put out every Christmas. So anyway, so I'm saying Toy Story.
The whole package.
I'm saying the whole set. Yeah, I know it's not fair, but that was fun. I loved these choices. This was really good. And I loved your reactions, Shelley. You're awesome, man. You're really good on this. I'm glad you joined us again.
Thank you for having me again.
Do we want to talk about our least favorite Pixar? No, that'll be another. We'll do another one. That's not a hard pick. Anyway.
No, it's not at all.
No. Yeah.
Oh, I'm just going to say it right now. Can we say it?
Yeah.
Plane. What?
No, I love Plane. No, I know you hate that. Oh gosh. Look, I have him here at my desk. I love this movie.
I
know you don't like it.
So it was just Jackson and Daniel, right? And so we're in the movies, and it's myself, Daniel, Jackson, and then Bogey. And I get this look like 45 minutes into it, like.
Come on, it was supposed to be a direct to DVD release. It was supposed to be.
But it was so good they decided to release it in the theaters. I love it. I don't know why I love it so much, but I do.
But let me tell you, the boys really enjoyed it.
I was going to say the dinosaur one.
Oh, the Good Dinosaur?
Yeah.
I like that. It's just.
I know. There's parts for sure. Yeah.
It lulls.
But anyway, okay. Well, that's the point of this. And by the way, if you haven't seen Onward, anybody that's watching this, you should see it. It's now available on digital because I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
And it actually comes to Disney Plus, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the 3rd.
Oh, really?
On the 3rd. That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're recording this on the 2nd.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, that's right. So
It's already been released, everybody.
By the time you see this, it's on Disney Plus, so take time to watch it. Shelley, you're awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it. I had a good
Thanks
time.
everybody for watching. This was fun. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Bye.